Love. A word spoken with reverence, as if it holds a kind of sacred power. We write songs about it. Die for it. Lie for it. We tell ourselves it's the one thing that makes us human. From childhood, we're fed the same story. He finds her. She saves him. Together they become whole. But what if that story is a lie? Not a gentle lie, but a calculated illusion. A construct designed to keep you obedient, distracted. Because the truth isn't romantic. It doesn't smell like perfume or whisper sweet nothings into your ear. The truth is mechanical. Cold. Brutal. Arthur Schopenhauer, a man reviled in his time, once wrote, "Women are by nature meant to obey." To the modern ear, it sounds barbaric. But behind the cruelty of his words lies a deeper insight, one we fear to confront. To Schopenhauer, woman was not an angel, nor a goddess. She was nature's instrument. A vessel for reproduction. A beautifully decorated machine with one purpose. To select, to seduce, to secure. Not out of malice. Not out of conscious manipulation. But because nature programmed her that way. And nature doesn't care about your feelings. You see, the female is the gatekeeper of life. She decides who passes on their genes and who fades into obscurity. She isn't guided by love. She's guided by instinct, the cold calculus of survival and genetic superiority. Still think she chose you because of your kind heart? The brutal truth is, she didn't choose you. She chose what you represent: status, security, potential. What you call love may just be your biological blindfold. A chemical illusion that masks the raw transaction underneath. And you? You're not her soulmate. You're her strategy. It sounds cruel. It sounds cynical. But maybe that's because we've built our identities on lies. Lies we were too afraid to question. Lies sold to us by fairy tales, movies, and Instagram filters. Do you truly know her? Or just the mask she wears when she wants to be chosen? Most men fall in love with an idea. Not a person. And that idea was designed to keep you chasing. To keep you providing. To keep you useful. Not to her. To the system. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Do you love her? Or do you love the way she makes you forget your loneliness? That's not love. That's anesthesia. And eventually, it wears off. Schopenhauer once wrote, "Women remain children their whole lives." Today, that quote is dismissed as misogyny. But before you look away, ask yourself, what did he really mean? He wasn't talking about intelligence, or ability, or worth. He was talking about perception and illusion. The way men are conditioned to see women as something they are not. He saw it clearly: men don't fall in love with women. They fall in love with the fantasy they've built around them. They worship her innocence. They crave her softness. They mistake her biology for benevolence. But strip away the lipstick, the perfume, the performative giggles. And what remains is not a goddess, but a human, bound by the same primal instincts as any other animal. The tragedy is not in her deception. It's in your delusion. You gave her the pedestal. You painted her wings. You begged her to save you from yourself. And now you hate her, because she didn't. The truth? She was never sent to save you. She was sent to select. And when she no longer sees value in you, she moves on. Without apology. Evolution programmed her to seek the highest value male available. Not out of greed, but necessity. If she chooses wrong, her offspring suffer. She risks everything. You call it hypergamy. Biology calls it survival. And still, you kneel. You write her poems. You sacrifice your time, your money, your sanity. All to prove you're worthy of her affection. Affection that can vanish the moment your status slips. Your body changes. Your wallet empties. Why? Because love, in the way you've been taught to understand it, doesn't exist in the way you think it does. It is not unconditional. It is not eternal. It is not pure. It is selective, strategic, self-interested. Even the mother's love for her child, Schopenhauer argued, is not altruism. It is instinct. It is possession. Not, I love you for who you are, but, you are mine. And once you begin to see love this way, you stop chasing the illusion. You stop asking women to be angels. Because angels don't bleed. They don't age. They don't cheat. But women do. Not because they are evil, but because they are real. And it is only in your refusal to accept their reality that your suffering is born. You suffer because you still believe. Believe in the one. In fairy tales wrapped in lingerie. In a soul that was made to complete yours. But no one is coming to complete you. Especially not her. You were taught to chase her. From the first cartoon you watched. The first Disney movie. The first pop song that looped in your headphones. The message was always the same. She is the prize. She is salvation. Win her, and you will be whole. It was never a suggestion. It was programming. The romantic ideal was never born from truth. It was manufactured. Packaged by industries that thrive on your longing. Hollywood sold you the idea that love conquers all. Music told you she's all you need. Advertising showed you that buying the right watch, the right car, the right scent would make her love you. And you believed it. Because you wanted to. Because the truth. That love is a negotiation. That attraction is conditional. That loyalty is temporary. Was too bleak to bear. So instead, you accepted the script. Be the nice guy. Be the provider. Be the protector. Sacrifice. Wait. Earn her love. But the system never told you what to do. When she no longer needed you. Because they never planned to teach you that. Your suffering is part of their profit. The more you ache, the more you buy. The lonelier you are, the more you consume. Love isn't just an emotion anymore. It's a business model. Valentine's Day. Wedding rings. Date nights. It's all part of the same machine. A machine that feeds on your need to be wanted. You think you're choosing love. But you're choosing illusion. An illusion where the woman is still pure. Still selfless. Still waiting for the one man who will treat her right. But reality doesn't care about your kindness. It doesn't reward your loyalty. It doesn't protect you from betrayal. It just keeps turning. The truth? She isn't looking for Prince Charming. She's looking for relevance. Security. A man who aligns with her momentary needs. And when those needs change, so does her love. Yet even in the face of all this, you hold on to the fantasy. Because it's comforting. Because the alternative, that love is conditional. That she can leave, cheat, forget, is too painful to accept. So you lie to yourself. You pretend she's different. You ignore the patterns. You forgive the disrespect. Not because you're strong, but because you're afraid. Afraid that without her, you are nothing. But here's the paradox. The more you chase her, the less you have of yourself. And the more you lose yourself, the less worthy you become. This is the trap. A cycle of sacrifice, validation seeking, and eventual resentment. A performance you never auditioned for, but were born into. And the only way out is to stop playing. He wants to be wanted. Not just liked. Not merely tolerated. But chosen. Desired. Needed. This is the secret longing that lives beneath the surface of every man. And it's the weakness that keeps him chained. You think you're chasing love. But what you're really chasing is validation. The feeling that you matter to someone. That your presence is enough to fill a void in someone else's world. But here's the problem. When your sense of worth depends on being wanted, you will never stop performing. You'll work harder. Buy more. Bend your morals. Suppress your rage. All to remain good enough in her eyes. Because if she stops wanting you, you stop wanting yourself. This is the prison built by instinct. A biological impulse to reproduce. Twisted by culture into a spiritual need for approval. And you? You become an actor in a play you didn't write. A man who offers his life for the illusion of being irreplaceable. But nature is indifferent to your sacrifices. It doesn't care how loyal you are. How many nights you stayed up comforting her. How much you paid. How many times you swallowed your pain. It only cares about value. And when your value drops, you become invisible. This is the unspoken fear in every man's heart. That one day, he'll be replaced. Not for doing something wrong, but simply for not being enough anymore. And she won't cry. She won't hesitate. She'll tell herself a story that makes it okay. And you'll be left wondering if any of it was real. But it was real. For her. At the time. Until it wasn't. And you'll hate her for it. But deep down, you'll hate yourself more. For believing. For needing. For depending. The system knows this. It's built on this. A man who needs to be needed is easy to control. He will work harder for approval than he ever would for himself. He will fight wars. Build empires. All for a smile. A touch. A soft voice calling his name in the dark. This is the addiction. Not to sex. Not to love. But to being seen. And when that illusion fades, when she stops looking at you like you're a god, you're left staring into the mirror, wondering what went wrong. But nothing went wrong. You just forgot who you were. Outside of her gaze. You became a reflection of her desire. And when the desire left, so did your identity. But a man is not meant to be a reflection. He is meant to cast shadows. And if you've forgotten how, then maybe it's time to turn away from the light. You've spent your life chasing shadows. Silhouettes shaped like affection. Warm hands that vanish when you reach for them. Soft words that rot when repeated. You were never chasing her. You were chasing a reflection. The image of the man you thought you'd become. Once someone else finally believed you were enough. But you were wrong. The world didn't lie to you. It simply sold you what you wanted to hear. And you paid, in time, in energy, in silence. What they never told you was this. She was never yours. She was borrowed. By biology. By culture. By a system that needed you broken just enough to remain useful. So now you stand at the end of the illusion, asking the question that terrifies most men. Who am I, without her? And if that silence frightens you, it should. Because that silence is honest. It is not dressed in lingerie. It does not call you baby. It does not laugh at your jokes when you have no value left to offer. It simply stares. And in that stare is the answer you've avoided your entire life. You were never incomplete. You were never waiting to be saved. You were waiting to remember. Remember that you are not her mirror. You are the storm she fears. The silence she cannot tame. The man she cannot own. But as long as you wear the mask, the smiling, agreeable, self-sacrificing mask, you will never see your real face. Take it off. Let her leave. Let the fantasy burn. Stand in the ashes and do not look away. Because only in that moment, when the last illusion dies, do you finally begin. Not as a savior. Not as a lover. But as a man. A man who no longer begs to be seen. A man who does not fear the absence of her voice. A man who walks alone. Not because no one stayed, but because he finally stopped chasing. And now, the mirror is clean. No more fog. No more story. Just you. And the truth. Can you handle that?